How's it going, guys? Jake Mechanologist here, and I have a confession to make. I have a UPF game tomorrow, and I don't have my UPF deck ready. Oh no! What do we do? Well, luckily, clap, I already have an idea. So, I talked about a Melody deck tech earlier on. Let's make that deck. I've already made it in February. I just have to actually put it together in real life. The only problem is, it's still wrapped in plastic. I have to figure out how I open this thing. How do you open this? Well, I guess we have to remove the plastic first. So let's get our tools ready and sonic screwdriver open. Oh, there we go. But it didn't open the cardboard box. Oh right. Sonic screwdrivers don't work on trees or wood, and cardboard's made of wood. Luckily, we have the solution for that right here. Our new green Teclo pistol that should hopefully solve our problem. So we'll do one shot now. Ah, that only opened it. We need to get the box away. Luckily, we still have one shot left. And now. There we go. Oh, but there's still plastic in the way. We need to remove that plastic, so we'll use the sonic screwdriver again and... Uh-oh. Well, luckily I know from another quote-unquote scientist that a sonic screwdriver is just a screwdriver that's sonic. So if we sonicize our regular screwdriver, we should be able to... There we go. Now, we need to remove all this garbage and the cards we don't need. Believe it or not, this deck uses most of the existing deck. We're going to remove all the tokens and save those for later. Obviously, we're running Melody, Jinglewood. You know what? This is taking too long. Let's do this the easy way. We're going to take this, smash it into here, and then we'll smash our sleeves on there, and problem solved. So let's do this first, and smash. And there we go. Oh wait, we still gotta sleeve it. Alright, let's sleeve that then. First thing we gotta do, open our box of sleeves. Luckily the plastic is gone, but the cardboard's still there. And we're gonna reuse this. We don't want to damage it too much. So let's pull out our trusty sword knife. And then let's see if I remember how to do this. Hiten Mitsuriguru. Other Japanese, go! There we go. Should be able to dump that out. Save that box for later. And now, all we have to do is slam our sleeves on there. Sleeves, go! Oh wait, wrong sleeve. Ah! One more try, go! Hey, there we go. A nice sleeve duck. Yeah, what? A nice sleeve duck. A nice sleeve deck. Alright, so this is the Melody UPF deck that I designed real quick. And it's very simple strategy, very straightforward. Let's go over it real quick and see what it does good, what it does bad, and etc. So obviously, we're running Melody because Melody is a fun hero for UPF. She is a bard whose hero ability is whenever you play a song, create a copper token for each other hero in the game, not including yourself. So in a UPF game, you can make anywhere from 3 to 7, depending how big a UPF game is, coppers by playing one song. Not bad. 20 health, 4 intellect. We're gonna run Jinglewood Smash Hit, a actually really decent fiddle for a weapon. It has a once per turn action, pay 3. You can target an opposing hero and create a might. Oh, sorry, the hero chooses to create a might, quicken, or vigor token. When they do, you get a copper token, and we want copper. Crown Dominion. We are running a royal version of Melody because we want to be able to pitch into stuff, and 1 free gold is good to have. We are also going to run Time Skippers because, well, you probably could have ran the Bard Boots instead. I can see the argument either way. I picked this one because you can pitch into it and gain 2 action points. Heartthrob, because I really couldn't think of a chest piece to run that wasn't too expensive. Destroy this to create a Vigor token for each hero. And Fiddle D, because I really couldn't think of a good arm piece to run. Fiddle D, destroy it, each hero creates a Might token. As for the deck itself, we're going to see a lot of blues and a few reds, as well as some yellows. I'm going to be running a full rainbow of Crowd Control. Crowd Control is a Bard block. I almost said Mechanologist. It's a Bard block card that says you can pay 3. If you do, it gets +1 for each opposing hero. In a normal UPF game of 4 players, you being one of them, that means this can block for 7, which is not bad at all, at the cost of 3. That pretty much makes it an immovable. And the yellows and blues, they're there because, while not as good, they're still pitch fodder and blocking if needed. 2 of every song we have access to. The only song we don't have is Yorick's, which I don't think it's a song actually. So 2 Song of Yesteryears, which puts an attack action card from the graveyard on the bottom of each other hero's deck. Song of Wandering Mind, each other hero draws a card. Song of Shining Knight, each other hero creates a Might token. Song of the Rose and Matador, each other hero creates a Vigor token. Song of Sweet Nectar, each other hero gains 1. Song of Jack Be Quick, each other hero creates a Quicken token. Oh, that's it. That's all the songs. And it may seem strange to want to help our opponents, but because you're helping your opponents, they'll be so focused on each other, they might want to keep you around. And that's where we get into how we hurt our opponents. Also, to keep the cost of the deck low, we are running Coax of Commotion. Coax of Commotion is a 0 for 4 attack action that says, when it hits, choose any number. Each hero creates a Quicken token, each hero draws a card, each hero gains 1 health. Usually, people let this hit because good stuff happens when it hits someone. And it's cheaper than the Command and Conquer I wanted to use. For our other attack actions, we are running Final Act, a Bard attack action, which is the attack action. This is why we want to pitch so much. Final Act is a 1-for-1 that gets +X, where X is twice the number of cards in all pitch zones. If you can pitch a bunch of cards, this thing comes in for a lot of damage. With the gold we're making, and the copper we're making, and the silver, which we will see later on, we're going to make a lot of resource tokens that we can pitch into and hopefully hurt someone really bad. We are also going to run 2 copies of Exude Confidence. Exude Confidence is a 0 for 4 that, at the instant cost of 3, you can give it +2. You can activate this ability as many times as you want, as long as you're attacking. It also can't be defended by cards with greater than or equal attack than it has. So, and it also stops defense reactions. But because we're running so many blues, we can easily launch this at someone for 8, 10 if we're lucky. A good way to sneak in some big damage. Speaking of sneaking in damage, we're also going to be running 2 copies of Fire Breathing. Fire Breathing is a 2 for 3 that at the instant cost of 1, you can increase the attack of Fire Breathing by 1. You can activate that as many times as you want, meaning that if you have a handful of blues and Fire Breathing in arsenal or in hand, this can do quite a bit of damage as your opponent will have already blocked by the time you're activating its ability. We are running Imperial Ledger because we're royal, and so we might as well use it. Imperial Ledger says we can shuffle it into the deck and create a copper token. If we're royal, which we are, we make a gold token. More things to pitch into, more cards to draw. 2 copies of Cash In. Now, here's something I thought of about Cash In that really only applies to Melody, and that is that the full cost of Cash In is better than sacrificing the 4 coppers, 2 silvers, 1 gold if you're going for the final act, because this is essentially a copper, but you draw 2 cards. I'd have to do the math to figure out if it's better than just sacrificing a gold, but if you didn't have the gold, you could easily just play this card, pay its cost, and have cards in your pitch zone. We are running 2 copies of Cash Out. Now, Cash Out is more there for the meme, but there's a reason we're running it. Cash Out is a non-attack action that says you can destroy any number of weapons, equipment, or non-token items you control. Create a silver for each permanent destroyed this way. More silver, more things to pitch into, more in your pitch zone. That's it. Plus, it's a blue. If it blocked 3, it'd be better, but it's UPF. 2 copies of blue pick a card, any card. More for the fun, but it lets you look at your opponent's hand, and if you're lucky, make 2 silver. 2 copies of Encore. This is so we can bring back our final act. And 2 copies of Interlude Red. We're only running the red because we need to make room for other cards. This one prevents 3 damage to any target. If another hero is prevented damage because of this, you create a copper token. You can use it on yourself if you needed to, but you wouldn't gain the copper. And last, because we're playing UPF, we are going to run Garganian Tome. That is our main deck of 38 cards. Because a sideboard is a thing, we have quite a bit of cards in our sideboard, depending on which heroes you're into. If you are into some wizards, like a Kano in your UPF, you're going to want to run Oasis Respite. Oasis Respite is a 1 generic instant that prevents 4 damage, and if your life is lower, gain 1 health. If we have no wizards or brutes, we're going to play pick a card, any card, red. Essentially the same as blue, but you could do it 4 times. If we have brutes and maybe guardians, we might consider running unmovable red. Now we do have enough blocks already with the Bard blocks, but when it gets towards the end game, you might not have enough heroes around to boost your block card high enough. Unmovable can block for 8 if played from the arsenal. Otherwise, it blocks for 7, and when they are throwing those big attacks at you, you're going to want that. And for our sideboard equipment, we have 2 Null Rune equipments, Null Rune Robe and Null Rune Gloves. Run 1 or both, depending on if your matchups have wizards or rune blades, at your own discretion. And if someone is playing high roll KO, Gambler's Gloves. Just there for the dice. And that's my Melody UPF deck. This is a don't attack unless you need to deck, and then once you're set up, hit them hard. Hit them really hard. Especially if it's the end game. Throw a fire breathing at them, pitch all your cards into it. If you have a final act in your arsenal and fire breathing in hand, pop your time skippers, attack with fire breathing, pitch everything but 1 into fire breathing, and then with your second action point, come in with final act. There's all kinds of weird ways you can try and finish the game. Otherwise, you're just sitting there playing your fiddle. Maybe towards the end game, if your opponent's at 1 or 2 health, start swinging the fiddle at them. As long as they block, your fiddle won't break. Which I forgot to mention, the fiddle has an action, not a once per turn action, just an action that it can attack for 2. If it hits, it's destroyed. Which makes this a pretty good weapon for endgame, as you can just start swinging your fiddle at someone, and as long as you have the action points, they have to block it. Or die. Or your jingle would get smashed. It lives up to its name. It's a smash and it hits. Or when it hits, it smashes. That Melody, in her precon form, focuses more on making allies and then throwing a big final act. But when she runs out of attacks, she ends up just being a punching bag, and with all those items, sometimes you can't block that last attack that will kill her. So yeah, that's my Melody UPF deck I'll be playing tomorrow. I will add on to this video after the game and let you know how it went. Yeah, I've been the Jake Mechanologist. That's been my Melody UPF deck. Have a good evening, weekend, night, whatever it is, wherever you are. I'm going to go work on something else. Now, we put it in the box. Hopefully it looks cool. If not, well, I'm not really an editor. Hey, is my microphone working now? Hey guys, I'm Max, and I'm here to say, I mean, I don't actually sound like this. I probably sound way cooler, or I don't know, maybe I sound like a nerdy guy. Hey guys, it's me, Max Nitro, the coolest guy in metrics, and I'm here to throw a wrench at people. Oh, that guy's such a badass. How's it going, guys? I know this is the same video, so this is after my UPF, after I've done the deck. Here's the deck right here. This is a box of Monarch. I really want to open this box, but we'll open that later. I bought this to get the Squizzy and Floof promo, and the Rainbow Foil Cracked Bobble, but that's for later. So, the UPF, it actually went really well, even though I was the first one taken out, as I posted on X. We had a very interesting match. There were 2 pods in our UPF group. One pod played mostly attack decks, and they finished their game in about a sub-hour, maybe close to an hour. Our game took 2 hours, and that was 2 hours to get me out of the game. Overall, though, it was a very fun game. I would play this deck again, though I would make changes, and we'll go over those changes in a bit. A few keynotes on this deck. Having only 4 attacks essentially in the deck. Not just 4, but you have 2 of each. Means that it's kind of hard to threaten a lot of damage. Oh, fire breathing, right. It's kind of hard to threaten a lot of damage consistently because you're really relying on hitting your opponent with big attacks. A mistake I made in building my deck is that I put too many reds in the deck. Let's turn the light on. That didn't help at all. Jinglewood is a very great bard weapon. I recommend it because something a few of the guys found out, they didn't know this. Jinglewood does not break unless it hits. Meaning if you swing at them and they full block it, Jinglewood sticks around. I probably mentioned that earlier. And coppers are great. The royal strategy that I tried worked okay. I didn't make too much. I only made 2 gold in the game. One off of the Crown and Dominion, which is around here somewhere, and one off of... Oh, right, I put it away. So one off of the Crown Dominion and one off of the Imperial Ledger. I did find out while playing Imperial Ledger is a bit of a hassle to play because, like most items, there's no go again when you play it, but to make it worse, activating its ability also doesn't have go again. Meaning, unless you run a card like Lead the Charge, Mage Master Boots, activate your Time Skippers, which I did, you can activate this and end your turn. You could do it as a turn ender, I guess, but because it also shuffles into your deck when you activate it, that's another problem you can run into. As for the Time Skippers, they did their job. Time Skippers, not the best boots to wear, but they did their job. So I'm not going to complain too much. I had a strategy. It kind of worked, and I did get a final act for 19 damage, or 19 threatening 19 damage, even though it only did 18 because my opponent had This Round's on Me active. 18's still hard to block, and it took all the armor plus a few cards from hand to block it all. Oh no, he didn't block it all. He took actually some of the damage. He had enough health to sponge up some of the damage. So he still had cards in hand, and because everyone was drawing cards and he was playing Valda, he had so many Seismic Surges. Just one card in hand is enough for him to still threaten me, which happened when he dominated an attack and I was taken out. So with that out of the way, let's look at the virtual version of the deck, and I'll also show you some changes I made to it and some stuff that you could consider for yourself if you want to try this deck. Huzzah! So here we have I call it the Let's Get Along sub 200. The reason I call it that, I wanted this deck to cost less than 200 bucks. That might be too much for some of you, in which case you can just replace the Crown Dominion. If you do, remove the Imperial Ledger as well, and that will save you a lot of money actually. Crown Dominion is the most expensive card in this deck. Gorganian Tome, you always run in every UPF game, so. And as you can see, this deck, it has a lot of blues, but one problem I ran into is because of Imperial Ledger, when I shuffled my deck, I drew a lot of more reds than I planned to. And that threw off my copper gold pitching strategy, to the point I only got 9 cards on my pitch zone. Besides that, playing songs and earning 3 to who knows how many coppers, despite buffing your opponents, is a really fun strategy. As fun as pick a card is, it turns out I have no luck at it. And with this maybe pile, we'll worry about that in version 2 of the deck. So the changes I made in version 2 of the deck are that I'm just running the normal Bard equipment. This is everything you get from the Bard structure deck. You could run more meta equipment if you wanted to. You could run Crown of Providence instead of Nom de Plume. You could run Snapdragon Scalers instead of Quickstep. I like Quickstep because even though it gives everyone a Quicken token, it gives you one as well. Something the Bard doesn't normally give herself is the benefits she gives everyone else. The Royal package was fun, but I think sticking to coppers is better. Silvers if you can, but coppers are fine as long as you have enough blues to cover the cost. As for the deck itself, we removed crowd control yellow. The reason why we removed that is because even though I didn't have a lot of yellows in the deck to begin with, yellows did throw off the pitching strategy for Final Act. Yellows also throw off the pitching strategy for Exude, and in some cases, Fire Breathing. So reducing my yellows down as much as possible really should make a difference in the future. We'll still run the blue, because it's a blue, we can pitch it, and worst case scenario, we can block for 5 to who knows how much, depending how big your pot is. Still running Exude, still running Final Act, obviously, still running Fire Breathing, still running Cash In, Encore. We are adding Remembrance, because even though we have a way to bring back Final Act, we don't actually have a way to bring back Exude or Fire Breathing. One of the problems I ran into is at the beginning of my game, I had to block with Fire Breathing, which is fine because I have 2, but it also means you have 1 less attack in a deck that only has, well, the last version had 4 attacks, well 8. Now I have 6. So we really want to save our attacks if we lose them, or just bring them back for more damage. So Remembrance is here, and then from there, we go into all the blues. Still running Cash Out, we could use it for a last ditch 5 silver strategy. Pursuit of Knowledge is there, so I actually lied. I actually added 1 more attack, Pursuit of Knowledge. I actually meant to put this in the maybe pile, but for now it's there. It could be a fun attack, attacks for 4, a little bit better than Coax because it benefits you more, but if you wanted to, you could still run Coax. Still running all the songs, and then this round's on me. Now, if you can't afford or don't have this round's on me, it's not a big deal. I didn't add it last time, I didn't have space, but given what we're trying to do, I would say run this if you can. And then to replace our time skippers strategy, we're gonna run Time Snap Potion. It's a blue when we need it. It's an item that we could sell if we wanted to with Cash Out, and we can get 2 action points for a bunch of Final Acts. Inventory, pretty much the same. We got rid of the pick a card strategy because I have terrible luck. You can still do the pick a card strategy if you want to have fun, and who knows, maybe I'll put it back in. But given I played 2 of them and only got 1 silver off of it, I'm probably not going to do that again. And, okay, good, I'm still good. I thought I broke something. here we have the maybe cards. Now, the maybe cards are here because some of these, maybe you have the cards, some of them maybe you don't. The original goal of this deck was to have a sub $200 deck. Yeah, $200 deck. Good Deeds Don't Go Unnoticed is not a cheap card. Warmongers is not a cheap card. City Xmas Present is cheap. Poison the Well, as far as I know, is still cheap, and Time Snaps are pretty much free. If, for any reason, you want to switch out cards in this deck, say Pursuit of Knowledge, This Round's on Me, I would recommend, if you have them, run Good Deeds Don't Go Unnoticed. Yeah, it's a yellow, but they're so fun in UPF games, you might as well run them. If you can't or don't have Good Deeds, run City Xmas Present. They're really cheap to get, and giving someone a cracked bauble could be fun. Also, it's a yellow, so you can use it for that. Poison the Well is something interesting. So it's an instant that says the next time a hero would gain health, instead they lose that much health. Well, we're a bard, and we have a certain song that gives every other hero 1 health. What if we were to take away 1 health from everyone? Or even prevent the damage to someone and then have them lose. Well, that's just kind of weird. I don't know why you do that one except for fun. But it's something you could do. Anyway, something to think about. Poison the Well. It's a blue. Downsides, it's an instant. And also, there's only really 2 cards in the deck that it interacts with. Time Snap Potion, just because if you can't think of another blue to add, a second Time Snap might not be a bad idea. And Warmongers. Warmongers is a fun UPF card, but it's also very expensive. 40 to 50 bucks, I think. If you don't have it, I can understand not wanting to run it. If you do have it, I would consider running it. Blue block 3, and if you play it, it could ruin someone's strategy. Or your own. So yeah, that's going to be my next version of the Melody deck. However, I'm not going to play Melody next UPF. I am instead going to be playing a certain new merchant. Possibly. I have to look into it more. But this new merchant, Squizzy? Yep, Squizzy and Floof. Now, one thing about Squizzy, though, is you can't force his power on someone, meaning that your opponent can just say no. And unlike Genis, you don't actually gain anything if they say no, only if they take the cracked bauble. So, there's a chance that he might not do anything. On top of that, gold in the game in general doesn't have much use yet. In the next set, I have a feeling Squizzy might be way better in UPF, just because of all the ways to use gold. But in the current game, there isn't a lot to do with gold except for knick-knack bric-a-brac, where you could destroy 1 gold to pull out a potion and then do what Genis already does. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see when I make the deck. Maybe we'll try a royal package on Squizzy and see how Squizzy and Floo feel being royal. I mean, he's essentially royal as it is. He's Santa Claus. So that's about it. That was my UPF Bard experience. Overall, it was a very fun game. In the end, the prof won it on 1 HP, pulling off a singularity. And along at the same time, Genis made like 20-something silver, and Valdo was averaging like 8 seismic surges a turn. It was a crazy game, and it makes sense that the Bard would be taken out first, considering the Bard tried to take out the Guardian, who hits very hard. If you've learned anything from this, do not sit next to the Guardian. Unless maybe you're playing, I don't know, someone who is good against Guardians. Anyways, I've been the Jank Mechanologist. That was my Melody UPF deck. I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to open a box of Monarch for fun, and hopefully we'll pull something crazy. And if not, we got the Squizzy and Floof. Yeah. Have a good evening, night, weekend, morning, wherever you are. I'm gonna go work on something else.